excited today because today's word that God gave me is you had to lose it all to gain it all. And it kind of goes with that Amos 9 post that I made on my page this morning where God just really started to speak to me and talk about Amos 9, how blessings will overflow you and just take over you. So that's the season that many people are in right now. We're in that Amos 9 season where we're about to see God do miraculous, amazing things. And again, this prophetic word is more of a prophetic teaching, so it may be for some people. So it is a right now word for some. Like right now, you're in the season, you know, when you hear what I'm about to say, you're going to know it's for you. But it's also for people who, there's two different sides of it. There's people who are in it right now, and then there's people who are walking it out, who's stepping into it, who's about to see everything come to pass. But God is just using me to give them like revelation and knowledge on the why, like why it's happening. You know, the word he gave me is you have to lose it all to gain it all. And so for a lot of people, they may be questioning like, God, why do you have me here? Why do I have to go through this? Why is all of this happening in my life? But like I said, you had to lose it all to gain it all. And so if you jumped on before you saw it, that's the title of this prophetic word. If you're on, let me know who's on, where you from, because y'all know I picked my son up at around 3:20-ish. So I got about 40 minutes, and I get to talking too much when I go live. Like, that's the thing about Facebook and being live. Like, I interact with the people who are on the live. So we're going to try to do this in the next 40 minutes because I know that I've walked this out and I've lived this out and I've had to go through this season where it's just, man, God, why do we have to go through this? Like, why do I have to suffer? Why do I have to go through this? But I feel as if this word is about to give people like comfort. It's going to comfort people to realize what's on the other side of the suffering, what's on the other side of the warfare, the struggle, the lack. Like many people, and this is what he was showing me. He said that many people are in this place of struggle, of suffering, of lack, of being unsure of what's to come. And he said that this word is to let people understand what's on the other side of it. Like, why do I have to go through it? And I meant to tag some people because, y'all, I started going live on Facebook. And people have been like, I'll be like, man, okay, I'm going to go live today. And then people are like, what time do you go live? So let me tag a few people that I know watch on Facebook because I have not given this word on Clubhouse. Most of my words are given on Clubhouse first. But this one isn't from Clubhouse first. This one is coming straight to Facebook first. I see Shantae. Hey, Letitia. Iowa from Houston. Ray Maya. Hey, y'all. Yeah, people always message me and they're like, what time are you going live? What time are you going live? And I'm like, around 2-ish. So I'm going to just tag some people who I know usually hop on and watch. Sierra watches here a lot. I'm going to eventually know my people who watch on Facebook, but it's been some time since I've been on. So I'm just going to tag some people who I know ask me, like, what time are you going live on? And just so you guys know, it ranges in the 2 o'clock hour. I'm going to be able to let you guys know, like, an exact 2 o'clock, 2:30. But for now, I'm getting adjusted to this new schedule God has me on. So it's in that 2 o'clock hour that I go live on Facebook every Wednesday. So I'll be here every Wednesday, 2 o'clock with the prophetic word that God gives me. But this one, truly, I pray that it comforts people. I pray that as you go through these seasons in this walk, you don't stay focused on what's happening right now, on just the ups and well, not the ups, but the downs that we have to go through. But I'm going to say this before we even get started. I have never met a kingdom. Hey, Kendra, how's it going? Look, I'm teaching the people who I know. I'm trying to remember the people who join on Wednesdays. Oh, yeah, Tanisha usually joins. Trying to get, because usually I know my people who I tag, and I'm trying to get to remember those people. But I'm going to say this. I have never met a successful kingdom business person, a successful person with a kingdom ministry, a successful person who is really doing it with God, that has not had to go through suffering, who has not gone through struggle, who has not gone through all of these things that many of us are dealing with right now. I'll go ahead and grab this myself. Hey, Kim, how's it going? Look, I said I gotta tag my people who I know sometimes show. I've yet to meet someone who has not gone through it, who has not walked through the fire and all of this. Never. And so many of us are in the season right now where God began to show me that people are ready to turn around, turn away. We know that we've been there. But at the end of the day, if you don't go through it, you will not see it. Like, you won't see what it is that you're expecting God to see. You won't see that next place. So he has us in Amos 9, because that's where we are right now. So Father God, decrease me, increase you, Lord. Lord, I pray right now that you put the words in my mouth to begin to speak to the people who this is for, Lord. I know that this is a prophetic teaching, but I pray that the people who need it prophetically in this hour begin to show. I hear Tamika. Yeah, I'm going to just attack the people who I'm hearing, because this is just what he does with me, is that I start to hear names, and I'm going to attack the people in. But Lord, I pray right now that the people who need to hear this, it's an in-season word for them right now, that they begin to hear it and their spirit understands where they are, and it is an aha moment for them. I pray that people who are in this season of going through a season of lack, and where they have to let go of things and release things, that they begin to understand the why behind what's happening in their life. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Y'all, that's part of it. A lot of it's as if we go through this walk with God, we go through this journey to the kingdom, like we talk about, and we go through all of these things, but we never understand the why. Like, we don't know why we have to go through it. We don't know why we have to endure. We don't know why. We just know that God showed us something. He spoke something to us. Somebody else spoke something to us. And we are looking to get to that place. But sometimes we never hear the why. Like, why am I doing all of this? Why is all of this happening to me? And what is happening in the end? What is it that I'm waiting for? What will it look like? What will it feel like? And so the other day, I was minding my business. I got to give y'all some background. I was minding my business, and God started to tell me, like, hey, Melanie, how's it going? Started to speak to me and show me, like, what you're working on right now it's just a continuation of everything I've been having you do. So for many people, where God is telling you to do things, let things go, step into things, build things, create things, y'all, I literally saw everything that he had me working on over the last year. Like, you know how you put a train together and it clicks on the back, and the next track, what is it? Whatever those things are called on the train. They started to click. My phone mixing up. They started to click and connect. So everything that you're doing, working on, God told you to do, it's all going to connect in the end. Things for me in my life is coming full circle. Like, everything God showed me, things that were spoken, like, it is coming full circle right now. So think about the things that God is telling you to do. It may not make sense right now, but eventually you're going to keep doing what God told you to do, and the next train is going to connect. And now you got this long train of things that God told you to do, and it's just going to make sense. And right now, everything he's been telling me to do for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, is an aha moment, and it makes sense. So many people, be obedient, stay obedient, keep stepping in it, keep walking in it, because I'm about to tell y'all what's about to happen, what it looks like, what it feels like. Because I'm seeing what it looks like when you stay obedient and keep doing what God told you to do over time. And that's the biggest part of this. It's over time. A lot of people hear the words, they hear everything, and they think everything is right now. It's not. It's over time. And so, y'all know I was talking about the other day. He brought us back to this shaking. I mentioned it the other day. I couldn't remember where it was in the word. Connections galore. I'm telling you, like, if I don't have time to talk about every single thing that I did over the last year and how it all just linked up together to a right now moment. And it's when you get to that right now place of, like, a lot of people get frustrated. They go through the struggle. They go through the suffering. They go through all of these things in these seasons, and they want to give up and they want to stop. But just think about if they just stop connecting, these trains stop connecting, all these things stop moving. You never get to that place of where he wants to take you. Well, let's stay focused. Let's stay focused. I got to get my boy. Amos 9, where we are, Amos 9, 7, and it's kind of stretching throughout. He gave me 12, but we're going to go from the beginning because I got to confirm what I said on that last live. If you missed it, it's on my page. But I kept talking about how God began to speak to me and talk about a shaking that was coming. I kept hearing shaking. A shaking. And I'm like, y'all, I can't remember where this is in the word. I can't remember exactly where it is. Y'all, he led me here. I was in my bed, and I'm like, okay, God, because I didn't give this word on Clubhouse first. It's coming first to Facebook. He gave it to me for Facebook first. And I sat there, and I was sitting there, and I was, sitting there like, Lord, what we talking about today? I need the prophetic word for the day, yada, yada, yada. And I instantly hear Amos 9. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I go reading it, and I'm like, oh, I got it. And as I'm getting ready for the day, he starts to download it to me, and that's how I get the word that I present. Because he'll give me scripture, or he'll give me a vision, and he'll show me, and it begins to download throughout my day so that I can come back and give it to you guys. I'm getting back on track, pressing through. Look, Kendra, it's the time, it's the time, it's the time. So I'm excited to hear. I always tag you in because I know that it's been something, but I just want to see you really become and birth everything that's inside of you. Season of suddenly is only a season, exactly. So I'm in that space, and I'm listening, and I'm like, okay, Lord, we talk about. He starts to download it to me. And last week, on last week's word, if you go back and listen, I kept saying something like a shaking, and I couldn't remember the scripture. Like I couldn't remember in the word where it was. I thought I wrote it in my journal. Maybe I didn't. Today, when he led me back to Amos 9, as we begin in Amos 9, 7 through 8, do you Israelites think you're any better than the far-off Cushites? God's decree. Am I not involved with all nations? Didn't I bring Israel up from Egypt, the Philistines from Caphtor, the Arameans from Kir? But you can be sure that I, God, the Master, have my eye on the kingdom of sin. I'm going to wipe it off the face of the earth. Still, I won't totally destroy the family of Jacob. God's decree. I'm still giving the orders around here. I'm throwing Israel into a sieve among all the nations and shaking them good. Here we go with the shaking again. Because I just mentioned last week about a shaking that was coming. Can't remember where it was, but I know he had me there. But now he's talking about I'm about to shake them good. No real grain will be lost, but the sinners will be sifted out and thrown away. The people who say nothing bad will ever happen in our lifetime, it won't even come close. So this is where we were before, where it was like there has been a separation where God has already been calling people, having people come back to him, having people seek him, having people get back into his presence. We've known this since March of 2020. He's been calling people back. For those who stayed with him, stayed in his presence, like you get to go. You hit on his word. More than likely, you want to know what God is speaking. You want to know what he's saying. You have been really trying to keep your relationship with God going. So that's the shaking that I keep hearing. He keeps leading me back into the word, into this shaking that's coming. But for those of you who are here and you've been in God's presence, don't worry about it. Because now, as we move in, it says, blessings like wine pouring off the mountains. This is when we get into the why. Like the why I have to deal with this, the why I have to suffer, the why we have to go through everything. So, but also on that judgment day, I will restore. And he told me to tell you to put your name in the place of David. So it's going to say David. So I will restore Glenda. I will restore Kendra, Alyssa, Kim. Put your name in this place. So as I read this, just put your name in the place as you listen to it. But also on that judgment day, I will restore Glenda's house that has fallen to pieces. I'll repair the holes in the roof, replace the broken windows, fix it up like new. Glenda's people will be strong again and seize what's left of enemy Edom, plus everyone else under my sovereign judgment. God's decree, he will do this. Now, as I was reading, most of what you had, it wasn't built with him. Like it wasn't with him that you built it. Maybe you had a job and he told you to leave your job and then you had built it and you say, I'm self-made. But then it's like you started to build it with him. Like the wealth that you had was not built with him. The relationship that you had was not built with him. The business that you had was not built with him. Maybe he told you to tear a business down and build something new. Maybe he told you to leave someone and he would bring somebody else in your life. I don't know what it is for you, but he was basically saying what you had, what you established, what you created, what you built, whatever it is. Many people are in this season where you just don't know, God, when is the move happening? What's going to happen? Like what comes next? Many people are in this place, and he's saying right here that he's going to rebuild it, but you're going to rebuild it with him. You're going to do the things with him. You're going to launch it with him. Like it's all about, maybe you had it before, but this time, when we talk about the blessings like pouring wine, like this is doing it with him. So he says he will do it. Yes, indeed, it won't be long from now. And as he was speaking to this part to me, he was basically talking about how it's that waiting stage that people have been in, where people have been waiting on it. Like, let me know in the chat if you guys are here, where it's just like, you know something's happening. You know God is about to move. You know there's more in store. You know something's happening and you can feel it, but you just don't know when. And this is what God began to speak to me. This is where things started to line up, like those train tracks started to line up. And so in that's when he takes us into things are going to happen so fast your head will swim. One thing fast on the heels of the other. You won't be able to keep up. Everything will be happening at once. And everywhere you look, blessings. Blessings like wine pouring off the mountains and hills. I'll make everything right again for my people, Israel. So, for those of you, I'm telling you, like, and I'm hearing a name right now. I'm hearing Sierra right now, too. But you just don't know what comes next. You've been, like I mentioned before, you've been in that season of lack. You've been in that season of struggle. You've been in that season of, God, what's going on? Why do I have to be here? But he says, I'll make everything right again for my people. And as I was sitting there, that's when he began to speak to me. And then he began to say, and really show me, like, even my walk, what all of us have to go through. If God gave it to you before, think about a year from now. Would you really have been able to accept it? Would you really be in a place with your heart be in the right posture to accept it? If he started to give you blessings that wine pouring, your head is spinning, everything's happening, everything's coming, you can't keep up, would you really be able to say that, God, like, I'm doing this for you? Yes, he is doing it. This reminds me of the visions we saw of being on a speeding car. I'm telling you, Jasmine, I'm sitting there, and he began to show me, like, he's showing me, like, and I saw it as train tracks. It was more like he was connecting the tracks and he was moving. But in that, no idea how to get to what I see. No idea how to get. And that's the thing. So this is how you get to what you see. And this is what he began to show me as we were walking it out, as we were moving. It's because he's rebuilding us right now. We talked about breaking things down, breaking down mindsets, breaking down things that we believe, breaking down all of what culture says. That's the rebuild. When he talked about right here, put your name in the place, I will restore Johanna's house that has fallen to pieces. You lost a lot. You had to give up a lot. You had to give up family, friendships. You had to give up a lot to follow God. You had to give up a lot. And that's the part that people don't get. When you give it up, he's going to rebuild it. He's going to give you more, double for your trouble. There's more. But you just got to walk that thing out. And you can't keep going back to what he already told you to rebuild. He would rebuild. That he would tear down. That he would break down. Because this is the part where this is what most people, if you don't get anything else from this part right here, I'll repair the holes in the roof, replace the broken windows, fix it up like new. That's the tearing down that's happening. This is that season of suffering that many people are in. A lot of people don't understand. I say this all the time. How much you change when you are in a season where you feel like you are suffering. When you are in a season of lack. When you are in a season where you don't know what to do, what comes next. You have no idea how much you are really changing on the inside. That's the rebuild that God wants to do. Not to say that he wants you to suffer. Not to say that he just wants to do it just because he can. Nah, like, look, the sacrifice was real. Oh my God, so true. I wouldn't be able to accept it months ago, and now I did. It feels great. Exactly. There's so much that happens when you are in that place in him where it's just you and you just don't know what comes next. Like, I need people, like, because he told me to come on. He said it was a prophetic word from many. Like, many are in this season where you're about to see it. You've gone through it. You've walked through it. You've been through the fight. Like, prophetic teaching. Like, I know God is using me a lot. Like, this is where he's shifting me. It's not just a prophetic word. It's a prophetic teaching because it's for two different people. It's for people who are in it right now, where you came out of that lack, where you came out of the suffering, or you're coming out of it, but you've been in it. You didn't know what was next. All you could do was trust God. All you could do was believe and just know. And this is for the people who, like, if you can't sit and believe God in a season of suffering and lack, you're probably not ready for blessings that's going to turn your head all over the place. You're probably not ready. You're probably not ready because God is like, I don't want you to keep going backwards. I'm trying to rebuild you. I'm trying to get you ready for where I want to take you. I'm trying to have you strong enough to handle it. I'm trying to help you with stewardship. I'm trying to help you really become who I created you to be. I can't shake this part. Like, man, y'all, I'll repair the holes in the roof, replace the broken windows, fix it up like new. Like, and I keep saying, like, when I read this part, it was as if in this space, this is what God wanted to do. Like, your life right now where you feel like God is just not in it. That's the broken window. What's the broken window? Like, those are the broken windows. That's the broken screens where he ripped it apart. He tore it down. Look, I'm going to tell y'all. When the God told me to leave my job, I saved money. I had all of this. And God started to tell me to spend money. What do you mean? You just told me to leave. You just told me to leave. I left my job February 2021. Last year. Oh, it's about a year now. I left my job February 2021. I leave my job and he starts to tell me to invest in me. He starts to tell me to learn things. He starts to tell me to get coaches. He starts to tell me, look, what y'all see right here, like the reason I'm good on camera and like live streaming and stuff, like he told me to go invest. Go out and put it into yourself because you're going to need it later. Now I'm leaving my job and I'm pouring money into other things to invest in me. And then after that, it's like, oh man, it's getting a little shaky. But in that, I tell this to people all the time, I wouldn't be who I am right now if I didn't go through it. I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't be in the position, posture. My heart wouldn't be postured the way it was. Because in that, all I had, the whole world, everything burning. Everything burning. Everything around me burning. But it's just like, but God, I know you said it. Like you wouldn't have showed this to me. You wouldn't have showed me these visions if it wasn't going to come to pass. You wouldn't have taken me this far if this is not where you want to lead. I wouldn't have so much confirmation. People wouldn't speak these things to me. Like, you wouldn't have shown this to me if it wouldn't happen. And I'm saying this right now from me coming out of it in a season where I had to go through it, that for many of you, again, prophetic teaching, you in that space right now. You in the fire right now. You don't know if you really believe God. You're like, the faith is a little wavering right now. You know, you get into some seasons where it's just like, okay, God, you showed me, but I don't know. And so when you in those seasons, you gotta remember this, like this rebuilding. He never led me here. But had he led me here, maybe it was I would have saw it this way back then. But repairing the holes, your life, what it is right now is not what it's going to be. If you can make it through this, if you could be a ride or die, like you gotta be ride, you gotta be ride or die. Sorry, y'all. You gotta be ride or die in this. Like, you riding with God or no? You gonna go back to what you were doing? You gonna go back to your ex? You gonna go back to the life that you used to live? I don't know why I'm seeing like drug dealer. Like, you know how like people want to get out the game? And it's like, you got jumped in. Like, you can go back and try, but that's how I see it. But it's like, when you in those tough seasons with God, it's ride or die. Like, what are you turning around to? What are you going back to? Like, God, I'm with you. That's the repair. Replacing the broken windows. I hear finances right now. Like, a lot of people, and especially when you're in this space with God, like, finances is a big one. Because the enemy wants to use finances to get you to stray away from God. If he can get you to believe that God is not with you financially, like, that's the biggest one. Money is a big factor for a lot of people. Like, we know we need money to live. But I'm going to tell y'all this. When I was in my season, all my needs were met. When I was in that season, every need was met. Nothing changed. Nothing was. It's as if God was still doing what he said he would do. It's not like I was in lack. I may not have had everything that I wanted, but I had everything that I needed. And so a lot of people forget that part. Like, when you're in the season, and it may not be finances for everyone. It may be family. It may be friends. It may be a relationship. But I'm hearing finances right now. Because even in that, let's say that you had the finances, or you were in a place at one point, and God started to strip everything away from you. Because he doesn't want money and finances to be an idol for where he wants to take you. Let's say we talk about the blessings again. Things are going to happen so fast, your head will swim one thing fast on the heels of other. Because I am feeling most people are dealing with finances right now. So I'm going to talk about finances because that's what I'm feeling. One thing fast on the heels of other. You won't be able to keep up. Everything will be happening at once, and everywhere you look, blessings. Now, God is trying to overflow you. You stepping into overflow. But if money is an idol, then the money is going to come before God. If God begins to bless you and money is an idol, and you're so focused on the money and the finances and what will come from it, it's going to become an idol. How can he make overflow and overflow you with everything when he is not the priority? He is not the head of your life, or what you're looking for and what you are expecting and what you want to see and all these things. Like, when you get to that place, and I'm going to tell y'all, many people, you may get into a place where God may call you out of work. I feel this right now. Maybe some people on here, God called you out of work, or he's calling you out of work. Again, prophetic teaching side. God may call you out of work. And that's where you get to a point where that real work, that real trust, that real relationship, it's that all you have is God. I'm going to tell you that. Like, all you really have is God. And staying rooted in him and close to him and just deep in him is what he wants. He wants you to grow closer to him in that season. So we got a little bit more. What time is it? 3:06. Well, I told y'all I be getting talking. Let me see. I gotta go on around this time because I feed off of people's comments. And so when people start to write, then I start to talk too much. So I gotta go on a little bit later, so that I don't get to talking too much and I'm on here all day. Let me see. I wouldn't be able to accept it, the obedience. Look, I'm telling y'all. Like, and even in that, in the season that he's showing me, this season that he's showing me is that it's the rebuild. It's the breaking down. It's the tearing, not saying it in a bad way, but tearing us down to build us back up, to be who he created us to be. That's that season. That's the season that many people are in right now. Because like I said, it's a prophetic word, a right now word for some. But many people are in the season where it's the ripping, it's the tearing, it's the things that's happening, it's the loss, it's the letting go. And it's not easy. And so I'm Amber Alert right now. You know, God sends me as an Amber Alert to remind you of what's on the other side of it. Because when you make it through that season of suffering, when you make it through that season of lack, when you make it through, again, and I'm going to say a season, but we can extend it. Because I was talking to somebody the other day in one of my chats, how God will tell you to leave something, you'll lose a job, things are just going all over the place. You know you're not supposed to be there. And then you go back to doing what God had already told you to come out of. Like, when I left my job, let's say I went and got another job, like, God would be like, I didn't tell you to do that. Like, you prolonging stuff. I need you to do things right now. Like, there's things that you need to be working on. So sometimes we set ourselves back. Y'all, I lost it. I lost some chat, but let's see. It's me. Amen. I'm going through the fire right now. I'm excited to see what's on the side. So, yes, Joanne, like, being in the fire, if you like, I know you feel what I'm talking about. Because if you're in the fire, you know what I'm talking about. Where you just looking around. Is it right? Oh, it's storming out here right now. You in the fire. So if you're in the fire, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you get it. You get exactly what. If you're not in the fire, you learn it. But if you're in the fire, you know. Where you looking around, and it's just like, God, save me. Throw me a buoy. Throw me a lifeline. I need a boat. I need a SOS. I need something, God. And so in that, this is him sending me to show you what's on the other side. Like that turning. And we gonna get into it. We almost there. But your head will spin. I'm telling y'all right now, it's just like I'm looking back and I'm like dang, like it all connected. Everything. So I know y'all are probably, I'm a broken record when it comes to this. Because if God told you to do something, there is a reason behind it. You will never hear me stop talking about doing what God told you to do. Because it's so important. It's connected to everything. I've met people on my journey and my walk. And I've always been a person where it's like, but God, I want to see. I'm going to keep moving. I'm in the fire. I don't know, but I'm going to keep moving. And I've met so many people where they stop moving. And they in the same place. And I see them and I'm like, man, but they so powerful, anointed, everything. But if something held them back, they stopped moving, they stopped going, they stopped believing God. Fear crept in and they stopped. And I don't want that for any of us. So y'all will never hear me stop saying, do what God told you to do. Because I've met so many people on my journey. God has sent so many people into my life. And I look and I'm like, okay, God, you've moved me all around, but it just hurts my heart sometimes because I see what happens when we stop moving and stop doing what God told us to do. We never see it fully birthed. We see a premature birth. We don't really birth it out. We don't really see that big vision. That big vision that God showed you is connected to the work and you doing it. And I'm telling y'all right now, like I met a lot of people and I just wish that they just kept going, but fear crept in and they stopped. I can relate. No problem. I think it's Malu. No problem, Malu. Facts. I'm going to make it through this. Yes, Joanne. Look, I know Joanne. You feel me. You know what I'm talking about. If you in the fire, let me know if y'all in the fire. Put it in. Like, if you know what I'm talking about and you in the fire, let me know. Because I know I done came out of it. And it's real. It's real. I talk about this a lot on Clubhouse. And like I said, I don't really talk about it a lot on Facebook. But maybe God will have me come and really go deep into it on Facebook. But that fire, you just gotta hold on. Like, please don't go back. Please don't let go of God. Please don't just turn around and just say, you know what, I give up. Don't give up, because the endurance, the strength, the courage, the fire, the boldness, like that's what's happening when you're in that fire. Like you're not afraid of anything. There's nothing that the devil can throw your way that can cause you to fear anything. Like, you bold. You went through it. So you, Joanne, you in it right now? When you come out of it, what is it? I've already gone through it. There's nothing that can stop me. There's nothing that can stop you once you make it through that season. I'm trying to go back. No, Siobhan, look. I don't know I'm a little late on this, but I hope you're not going back to what you used to be doing. Keep moving. And that's the thing that goes back to deep work. Like, even with you, Siobhan, like, I'm hearing deep work, like really taking everything to him. Talking to me right now. I started back tithing and I have everything I need in some. It was a test at first because I was scared. However, once I took my control off and gave it to God, exactly. I talked about this on Clubhouse the other day. A lot of people don't get, like, tithing. I always say it's like a wheel. Like, imagine a wheel that's spinning. As long as you tithe, God is like, okay, you send it into my house, you tithe and you give him your part. I gave it to you anyway, but you give me your part. But the minute you stop tithing, that wheel is not spinning. Like, it's not spinning anymore. Like, just imagine the wheel is spinning, you tithing, and God is just sending it back to you. We saw this happen in real time in our Telegram chat that we have. Like, God told me, the lady sold into me. But God told me to get 10% of what they gave me to somebody else. I gave it to somebody else, The minute I gave it to somebody else, somebody sent me what I gave her. And then it was just like a chain reaction of obedience, of being obedient, of sowing and doing what God told you to do. We saw it real time, y'all. Literally, what they gave me, I gave 10% to somebody. They gave it back. Somebody else sent it to me right then. The other, like, it was just a chain reaction. And that's what it looks like. When we stay on top of it, we do what God tells us to do, we stay obedient. I'm telling y'all, it has no choice. Like, you have no choice but to see God move. You have no choice. You're going to go through it. Like I said in the beginning of this, I've never seen somebody who is just successful and have really grown and become in the kingdom without having to go through this. Like, from my pastor to mentors that I've had, I have literally never met anyone who's not gone through this season of struggle and lack. It's a part of the game. Like, you, in order for God to trust and believe that you will do, when he starts to, like, go back, when things are going so fast, your head will swim. One thing's on the heels of the other. You won't be able to keep up. Everything happening at once. In order for him to believe and trust that you will steward things well, that you won't get big-headed, that pride won't creep in. Like, you really think that all of this is going to happen if pride is in you? Like, you're going to burn. That's the fire. The fire is burning pride out of you. The fire is burning the greed out of you. The fire is burning all of that out of you. Because once you step through that and you make it through the fire, and he's already burned the pride and all of it out of you, he's like, all right, cool. You've been doing what I told you to do. I know I can trust you. I know you're going to steward it well. You've already been through all of this. That's why we go through it, y'all. Like, that's why we go through it. Because this happens. I've seen, I know. But it's just really going into burning out what can't go. Because when he starts to bless you, you got to be able, like, he has to know that he can trust you. That he can trust you with his people. That he can trust you with wealth. That he can trust you in everything that he's called you to do. He has to know that he can trust you. He's been stretching me, all of that. Save me, Lord. Head will spin. Reach down and pull me out, Lord. Hey, Tanisha, how's it going? Siobhan, don't let culture push you prematurely. Exactly. You got to watch, like, who you listening to, who's speaking into you, who's telling you to launch things, who's telling you, like, you got to move with him. That's why you got to be so close and connected to him, especially when you're in the fire. Because you're going to start doing things that's out of, like, you in the fire and you don't know what to do, and you got to make sure you're hearing from God in the fire, too. Don't disconnect when you're in the fire. Look, I feel like I'm always in the fire, well, you're always on fire. But I feel like, I'm going to say I'm always in the fire, but, I mean, that's what I said. Okay, I said this before. I said, I'm saying it's a season, but it was actually longer than a season. If you think about a season, it's about 3 months. That fire is constantly burning stuff out of you. Like, I don't feel as if things are being burnt out of me as much as it used to. And then, like, in my journey, in my walk, it was that constant fire, Jasmine, where I just constantly going through stuff, and I feel like I'm in this fire. But I feel like I'm in a place after going through a lot of it, where he's like, all right, cool. I mean, I burnt everything out of you. Like, you get to a point where he's burned it all out of you, and you are that yielded vessel or that empty vessel where he's like, all right, cool, let's pour. Like, I can pour. That's why y'all see me all over the place now. Cause he's probably like, look, this girl she go do it. She gonna pour. So yeah, during the journey, you are gonna feel like you constantly in the fire because he's constantly refining you. He's constantly taking out impurities. He's constantly removing things that when you get to a point where blessings, your head is spinning, you don't even care. You've been through so much with him. You're like, all right, cool. You blessing me. All right, cool. Look, I ain't going to keep this. I'm going to go bless somebody else. But you get to a point where he's already refined and burnt it out. So, yeah, I do remember seasons of just constantly being in the fire. Like, am I ever going to get out of this? Scared. That's where I am. I think I missed it. Girl, the fire is hot. It's literally his way or no way because only God look. I'm telling y'all, like, that fire is hot, and you guys gotta sit in it. Like, everything is on the other side of that fire. And when you in the fire, don't stop moving. You gotta think about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were moving in the fire. A lot of people get in the fire and they stop moving. God told you to do something. He told you to keep seeking him. He told you to do these things. Like, do not stop moving in the fire. If you stop moving in the fire, you're gonna get burned. Your clothes setting on fire. Everything around you setting on fire. Don't stop moving in the fire. I'm telling y'all, God sent me to Clubhouse when I was in the pit of the fire. Like, he sent me to Clubhouse, moved me from Facebook and sent me to Clubhouse. That's when he told me to leave Facebook because I was doing the prophetic words on Facebook. But when I got to, like, top tier fire, it was Clubhouse. And it was showing up every day because he knew that I need you to keep pouring. I need you to keep moving. I need you to keep showing up. And you may not feel like going on camera every day, but if you're on Clubhouse, all you got to do is speak. all you got to do is talk. I need you to pour out. And that's the part that many people miss. A lot of people make a mistake and stop moving and stop pouring and stop doing and stop, like they stop in the fire. The fire is not the time to stop. I'm telling y'all right now, you got to keep moving in the fire. Everything burning around you, look, I ain't stopping. Look, I kept moving in the fire. It might have been the hardest days of my life. I say all the time, I'm crying. Before I go up, y'all, I'm literally sitting here like, dang, I got to go on Clubhouse. And I'm crying. I can laugh now. This is my Bible, y'all. I can laugh now. And I had to do Clubhouse. I didn't even have Jasmine on Clubhouse in the beginning. I had to do every single room by myself. And I'm just in the fire, burning up, hot, burning up. And I got to pull it together. I got to keep moving. I got to keep going. Ain't no time to sit down. Because I know what God showed me. I know what he spoke to me. And I know I got to do it. I got to keep going. Why am I stopping now? I got to keep moving. So yeah, the fire might be hot. But I'm telling y'all, the same way, we see them moving in the fire. Like, they kept moving, they kept going. And that's how you gotta be. When the fire is hot around you, when everything is burning and you don't know what to do, don't just sit there crying in the fire. Imagine Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire, in the fetal position, just sitting there crying. They just sitting there crying in the fire. That's what we do as believers sometimes. No. You keep moving when it's hot. You keep fighting when it's hot. You keep going when you're in the fire. And I see endurance, because that's what I learned. When I was in the fire, I learned endurance, how to endure, how to keep pushing, how to keep going, how to not give up. And that's what you need. Like, let's say God sends all of this your way. You got to keep enduring. You got to keep moving. You got to keep going no matter what. He's teaching you how to endure when you're in the fire. Because on the other side of it, like we said, the blessings on the other side of that enduring the fire. But you got to make it to the end. It sounds it sounds crazy, but I'm telling y'all, like, this real life. This is the why. This is why we have to go through the fire. This is why we have to deal with the suffering. And that's what he sent me on today. He even had me write it. Like, he had me write today's title in my Bible. Said, you had to lose it all to gain it all. And that's what most people are going through right now. God's stripping things away. You're losing the things that you built. You're losing the things that you created. You're losing the things that you wanted and created in your life. That's why people feel like, man, God, like, I lost so much. No, you lost what you created. You lost what you did. God, like, he wants to get the glory for everything. If he's giving you blessings that's going to make your head spin and overturn, like, he wants to get the glory on that. So that your testimony is, at one point I lost everything. I lost everything that I had, but God rebuilt. Look, I lost everything that I had. But God repaired the holes in my roof. And he replaced the broken windows and he fixed it up like new. That's what he wants your testimony to be. That's why you feel like you lose everything. Because you lose it all to gain it all so that he can get the glory in the end. Let's see. Bro, just had me some shea butter for my skin when I get on the other side. Look, on the other side, I need these seeds to grow. And they will. Somebody look, she said, a bird out what can't go. Don't disconnect in the fire. That's how I feel like I'm constantly going through something. And you will. I'm telling y'all, like, now, and like I said, like, I done been through it. But now it's more so staying on top of it, like maintenance. Like, I don't want foxes, like, anything creeping in. Like, I got to stay on top of it. I'm learning and I'm growing. And it's more so about getting in the Word, staying in the Word, going deeper revelation. Like, once you come out of it, then he's like, all right, cool. Let's go into deeper revelation. Let's go into more. Let's go into that next place. Because after you get all of it burnt out of you, then this is like, all right, cool. Let's do what we came to do. Like, let's really get to work on what I need you to do. That's the test this week. You're going to quit or move. Look, there's no quitting. Ain't no quitting. If you connected to Journey to the Kingdom, we don't quit. We keep going. And like I said, he had me leave here when I was in the fire for whatever reason. Like, he knows, like, look, I'm tired, God. I ain't trying to show up on camera. I'm exhausted and I'm tired. So I feel like that's why. Because he knew I wasn't, like, man, I'm exhausted. I'm going through this fire. But he did send me to Clubhouse. And so in that, you can't quit. Like, you got to keep going. Can't stop, won't stop, keep showing up, keep moving in the fire, no other option. Hey, Rain. There's no time to sit down. Look, she got to talk to herself. Like, and that's how it is. That's how it is in the fire, y'all. In the fire, you got to talk to yourself. You may not have anybody talking to you in the fire. You may be in a season of isolation. God may have you separated from everything. Sometimes you got to talk to yourself. Like, I'm not giving up. God showed this to me for a reason. And I remember when I was in the fire, Everything going crazy. I'm feeling exhausted. My son walks up to me. Y'all know my son. If you know Clubhouse, my little son, my prophet there. He my prophet. He walks up to me and he says, Mommy, God said you're going to be an entrepreneur. I said, what? He said, God said you're going to be an entrepreneur. And I'm like, an entrepreneur? This boy couldn't even say it, y'all. He didn't even know how to say it, but God sent him to say it in the fire when everything is going crazy and I don't really know what's going on. But he sent my son, who could not even pronounce the word, to speak to what God had already said to me. So like you said, Lynn, sometimes you got to speak to yourself. Same way she just said it. There's no time to sit down. Like, you got to speak to yourself and really say what God said. Just stop crying. I love it. Look, I'm telling you, this is how it is in the fire, y'all. If y'all, this real life right here, because that's how I was. I had to tell myself all this stuff. Keep moving, keep going. You have to lose it all. And look, if you can remember that, if you're not in the fire just yet, or if you're in the fire, remember that, because he had me right there. You had to lose it all to gain it all, because he wants to get the glory out. So if you're in it, or you going into it, just remember that line. Like, you had to lose it all to gain it out, because he's going to restore it. He's going to rebuild it. What time is it? Okay, we almost done. There's blessing in the long suffering. This sounds like me. God only God will get the glory, so he can get the glory in the end. There's not quitting. I don't like to quit. Look, I can't stand quitting. And they're like, and that's another reason for me. Like, God already knew I'm gonna send her first, because he know I'm not gonna quit. I might want to get to a point where I want to, but he know me. Like, I'm gonna send Johanna, because she's not gonna quit. And I've never quit at anything. I know some people tell me I quit at everything in my life, and for me, I've never quit at anything. And so for me, like, even though I'm in a fire and I'm going through all of this, like, I feel like the devil was gonna win, and I can't have that. Like, I feel like if I give up, the devil won. If I turn around, no matter what season I'm in, if I'm in the fire, if I'm going through everything, this is what was in my mind. I kept imagining the devil winning, like he had the trophy and I didn't. Honestly, that's what kept me going. So if you like me and you like some competition, just imagine you giving up and you know what God said. God showed you the vision. He spoke this to you. He showed you where he was going to take you. And you start to give up and turn around and stop doing what he told you to do. Imagine the devil just winning the trophy. You let him win. You let him take over. You let him win in the game of your life. And that's how I saw myself. I had to tell myself, if I don't keep going, the devil wins. And I wasn't having that. So that's how I was able to kind of endure. I'm in that isolation season right on time. I have to keep saying this to myself so I don't give up, because it's so hard. Just imagine the devil winning, Lynn. He takes everything. He steals he helps to steal, kill, and destroy. He steals your destiny. He steals everything God has for you. That's how you got to look at it. Again, me know my leg. He's still trying to come for your legacy, your destiny, all of it. We almost done, y'all. So after he goes through blessings like wine pouring off the mountains and hills, I'll make everything right again for my people Israel. It says they'll rebuild their ruined cities. Now I'm gonna tell y'all what God said. Y'all gonna get tired of me saying this, but this is why God uses me. So I'm just gonna be obedient. It says they'll rebuild their ruined cities. They'll plant vineyards and drink good wine. They'll work their gardens and eat fresh vegetables. And I'll plant them on their own land. They'll never again be uprooted from the land I've given them. God, your God, says so. Y'all, this, I say it all the time. His word says, they will rebuild their ruined cities. They will plant vineyards and drink good wine. They will work their gardens and eat fresh vegetables. What we talking about? What God always sent me to say? It's going to be work. You doing the work. That's why I always talk about this all the time, where believers think that God is just going to come down. I mean, he can, but we do the work. We do what he tells us. He gives us the strategies. We are working. They will build their ruined cities. They will plant vineyards. If you plant vineyards, you actually physically planting it. You're physically doing the work. You're physically showing up. If God told you to do ministry or business, you're physically doing whatever he told you to do. Like I always say, a lot of people say they waiting on God. He highlighted this part to me and said, they will plant vineyards and drink good wine. They will work their gardens and eat fresh vegetables. If you work in your garden, that's just like land, territory. You working it. You showing up. You teaching. You doing the lives. You posting the content. You working the land. They will work their gardens and eat fresh vegetables. And I'm telling y'all, God keeps pressing this on me for people who are not doing what he told you to do. You do the work. He gives you the strategy. He gives you the plan. You do the work. You want to rebuild your ruined city? Get the bricks and lay the land. You want to plant? You want to drink good wine? You plant the vineyards. You want to eat fresh vegetables? You work the garden. You work the garden. And I think that a lot of people, like I always say, I just really want to break that off of believers that, because I was there in the beginning where it was just like, I'm waiting on God. And this God, like, I wasn't doing everything that I was supposed to do. I was doing bare minimum because it was like, I'm waiting on God. But I really want to break that off of believers that really sit on that. I'm waiting on God. No, get to work. Because this is what he highlighted to me. You want to eat fresh vegetables? Work. You want to rebuild your city? Get the bricks. Lay down the land. Build it. You want to drink good wine? Plant a vineyard. Do it. Because this is something I had to learn the hard way. And I pray that every time I mention it, how he has me speaking and say it constant and over again, it begins to settle and sink into people that it's the work that needs to be done if you want to see what God said. And then he goes to say, after he said they will do the work, after you will do everything, he says, and I will plant them on their own land. Meaning now that, like, after you did it, I'm planting you. Because you did the work, you did all of this. And I will plant them on their own land. I'm going to give you the territory and plant you on your own land. Like, that's his part of it. Because at first, they'll do the work, they'll build it. And then it said, and if y'all want to go back, I'm at Amos 9. I started in 7 and went over to kind of like 15. So it's a stretch of text, but this is just where we are right now. But after you do the work, and then I'll plant them. And I'm telling y'all, this is all God been speaking to me lately. He's like, nah, your job this season is to go out and scream that they need to get to work. Scream that they got work to do. Scream. And I know people gonna get tired of it. But he's showing us right now what this looks like. They work, and I'll plant. And I'll plant them. They'll never again be uprooted from the land I've given them. And what he began to show me, I was, what was I doing? I think I was making my lunch. And I was wrapping it up because this is how he downloads what I talk about. It says if he'll give me a vision or whatever, and then he'll give me scripture, and then he'll start to download the pieces of it while I'm just going throughout my day. And so while I was making lunch, right before I went on, he started to say, I'm going to establish them. Like, they will be established. And that's where he was leading in the end. They'll never again be uprooted from the land I've given them. So after you've gone through the fire, after you've been tested, after you wanted to turn around and give up, after you've been in a season of lack, after you've been suffering for an extended period of time, after you've been going through all of this, I'm going to establish you. You're not going to get the end. And I think that a lot of people get to a place where they've gone through it and they get in the place of fear where it's like, well, what if I lose it all? What if but God is like, he's saying it right here. They'll never again be uprooted from the land I've given them because he prepared you. You're not going to go squander anything. You've already been in a season of lack. You've gone through the fire. You go like, what do you, squander? Waste? What? I'm not going back there. That's how you got to get, like, that's why you have to go through it. And like I mentioned before, today's word is the why behind why we have to go through it. Why we have to struggle. Why we have to suffer. Why we have to go through the lack. Like, the why. This is why. Because once you go through it, after he rips it down, after he builds you back up, after he begins to bless you, then you establish and you never again be uprooted from the land he's giving you. You won't have to go back to it. You've already been tested. You've already been tried. You've already been established. You're where you need to be. But at the end of the day, wherever you are in this journey, in this walk, you got to be able to endure. You got to be able to stay close to God in the fire. You got to be able to say, I'm not turning my back on you, God. I'm ride or die. Because that's something I had to learn, like, ride or die. And even now, things get iffy, things get, but I'm still ride or die. I'm still moving. All right, God, he got me building something new, y'all. Like, I'm doing a Build with God masterclass. I thought I was done building. I got to do all this work. I'm just trying to chill, God. Like, dang. But I got to do what I got to do. I got to do what I got to do because I know that where I am right now, I have to be obedient. Whatever he tells me to do, I have to do it. Right? This is the life that I live. This is what he needs me to do in the kingdom. So, God, your God says so. And that's how he ends it. And that's what he said. So, y'all, this is what he gave me for today. Like I said, I'm going to be here every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, two-ish. I don't have a time yet. I'm still getting used to it. Oh, yeah, for those of you who, you're supposed to be doing something, we had a membership program. Tonight, it's going to be a good one tonight, y'all, because God already got it He already had me sit down and map everything out about what we're talking about tonight. Tonight in the membership program, we are breaking it down how to build a routine that works for you. So for those of you who struggle with time, keeping up with time management, when to get things done, God told you to do all these things, and you can't keep up with it, I'm breaking down the calendar, how He has taught me, Holy Spirit has taught me to really break down my schedule, break things down, how to be able to manage it all, how to be able to keep up with everything. Look, y'all, tonight I know it's going to be good because He already had me sit down, and it's already mapped out. It's broken out. The link is there. It's only $37 per month, and something's always going on. Every single Wednesday we meet up, but tonight's going to be good because I know He began to show me that a lot of people who are building with Him, trying to figure things out, you want to get things done, but you just feel like, and I've been there, so there's so much to do in so little time. But what we have to do is really look at how much time we really have and build it based on our schedule. Because you can go watch YouTube videos and watch and look at what other people are saying and how to build a routine. They got to be based on your life and in your schedule. And that's what He gave me for today. So if you know God told you to do something, like He said, you work, and then I'll do my part. Because that's what it is. You do your part, and God will do His part. You show up, and God will show up. Until you get to the point where it's that opposite, where you doing your part and then God shows up, it won't ever happen. So that's what we talking about tonight in the membership program. I gotta go get my son. That's why I sit on here talking all day, y'all. Like, y'all know. This is why I purposely do it too. And you know, Kim, leave me alone. I'm trying to chill a little bit, Kim. I be like, man, God, I give birth so much. I be creating so much, producing so much. It does not stop. It does not stop. Facebook, Clubhouse, membership, all the words, YouTube videos, like, I'm going to put the link tree up. I'm going to put it here. If you guys want to connect to everything that we do with Journey to the Kingdom, hopefully it's right. I think I know it, but God has me everywhere. It should come up under this link tree. But let me make sure everything there, getting the membership. Look, Tanisha, we doing this. I hope you can make it tonight, Tanisha. I know you usually go to church, but if not, everything is recorded too, you guys. If you can't make it on Wednesdays, all the recordings are saved, and they're nice and neat, and the guides. So everything you need is there. Whew. All right, y'all. This is what He gave me for today. I'll be back next week, next Wednesday, 2-ish, until I get the right time, but 2-ish. Just know, come to my page around this time, between 2 and 2:30. We'll be here with another prophetic word of what God is saying. All right, I'm going to grab my son. All right, have a great day.